Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first video ever. Oh my god, it's a little nerve-wracking. But I wanted to come on here because, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Chyna. I'm a 25-year-old twin mom. I'm also a grad student, and I work as an RBT right now with autistic children. I wanted to start this YouTube channel because there has been so many different life journeys that I've been through, and I would want to share with the world. I feel like God has put it on my heart to start this channel. I'm very excited about it. I've been thinking about it for years, been procrastinating. I feel like there's so many moments too I could have got on camera that I didn't. I'm a little sad about it. But hey, very good with storytelling, and I got some pictures, if anything. So the first thing I guess I wanted to talk about is my IVF journey. So I started IVF when I was 20 years old. I had met my kid's dad when I was 20. I was just coming out of a relationship. That's a whole nother story time for later. But I had ended up meeting my kid's dad at a club that night, and I was like, wow, he's cute, but I really wasn't interested because, like I said, I was just coming out of a relationship, and it was not intriguing to me at all. And it was funny because he did approach me, but he approached me to try to hook me up with one of his friends. I was just like, no thank you, but okay. So after that, we all went home that night, and no numbers was exchanged, no nothing like that. So afterwards, me and my girls went to IHOP. We ended up chilling with some people that we had met at the club, and they went to IHOP too with somebody else's birthday in there, I think. So we had a great night. And fast forward, it's like 2 weeks later, I still was kind of like, a little lonely, I'm not gonna lie. So I did get on a dating app, whatever, and I ended up finding my kid's dad. And it's crazy because I didn't go looking for him or nothing. You can't do that on a dating app anyway. He just popped up, and then he was just like, I didn't recognize him though. He recognized me first, and he was like, oh wow, are you that girl that was at Rainey's the other day? And I was like, oh yeah, I am actually. It was my birthday. And he was like, I remember you and all that. So I'm not gonna lie, like, we clicked pretty instantly. And like, I will do like a separate story time about like more deeper into how we met and like the nitty-gritty of it all. I just kind of want to like separate this specifically for IVF. But yeah, so went through IVF. Sorry y'all, I'm skipping. So fast forward to us meeting, whatever. We kind of vibed quickly, I'm not gonna lie. And not even like 6 months into the relationship, he was already talking about marriage and kids and all those things. Now that where I'm at, I know that's a huge red flag anyway, but whatever. At the time, I was 20 years old, and this good guy at the moment, I mean, he's still a good guy, but you know, things happen. But in that initial moment when I first met him, he was everything. Like, he showed me things that I've never experienced before in my life. So I was just like, wow, like, heaven sent, he's the one. So if he wants to, you know, get married, have kids, like, I'm willing to give that to him, you know. So we started trying, and nothing much was happening. And he did have a kid before me, so I was just kind of like, it should have happened already by now, but you know. So I started getting on line to search fertility clinics, and during that process, I found one located in Dallas, and I told her like everything that we was dealing with, that how we was trying to have kids and all that, how old we were. And she told me, you know, let's try time intercourse. So I'm like, okay. She's like, that's where I put you on some medicine, you know, because maybe it's an ovulation problem. So she's like, I'll put you on some medicine, you know, and then you have sex on this day, and then, you know, you should get pregnant. I'm like, okay. So we did that. I took the medicine, had the most sex you can have within that time period. And you also take a trigger shot with the medicine to release that egg. So when I took the trigger shot, it gives you pretty much like a false positive, pretty much. And so basically you have to like test the trigger shot out, and then you test to look for if the baby's stuck. So it should be dark, light, and then if the if the time intercourse work, then it should get light, but back dark again to say, hey, it's a baby in there, pretty much. So that is what I did, and it just kept getting lighter, and never got dark again. So, mind you, this is like, I guess we waited probably like 8 to 10 months in a relationship before we started the fertility help process, because that whole time we had been trying, pretty much. So it had been 8 to 10 months, and you know, they say give it a year, but we were so young, and he already had one. It was kind of like, I don't want to wait a whole year. And I'm glad I kind of didn't wait that whole year, because technically there was kind of something wrong with me, but doctors can be wrong, and we will talk about that later. So we went back, and we would do like a 3-hour commute for this, so it was far. We went back to see the doctor, and we let her know, like, hey, it didn't work. And she was like, well, I want to do more tests on you guys because y'all are so young, it should have worked. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, let's start with me because he already has a son, and I don't think it's him, but you know, you never know. But still, I was like, I don't think it's him, so let's just start with me. And she was like, okay, well, you know, let's start by testing your fallopian tube. So we're like, all right. So she sends me on my way, and then I make another appointment. We end up making the drive all again to go to Dallas to get my fallopian tube checked. And there's this thing called the HSG, where they shoot dye up in your uterus, and it flows all the way through the tubes, all the way through both sides. And what they want to see is like a spillage. So it should be some type of dye that spills out when you do that process. But for me, both sides did not spill. So she's like, oh well, like, your tubes are blocked. But she didn't tell me right then and there. And mind you, that process was so painful. I mean, and then they strap your legs down. Like, it's almost like you getting a pap smear, but they strap your legs down. I tell you, the whole time, by the time I was done, I was dripping in sweat. And like, while they was doing the process, I was like screaming in pain. Now, mind you, it's not going to be like this for everybody. Most likely, if your tubes is unblocked, it should just flow through and you should not have no pain. But I guess because mines were blocked or something, that's why it caused the pain. But also, I read on Google through an article or something that the dye itself, the procedure itself, can cause your muscles to spasm. So you can get a false positive that your tubes are blocked when they're really not. So keep that in mind. It's always best to do like a laparoscopy to kind of see inside, whatever. So yeah, to get like a for sure answer if it's blocked or not. So she didn't tell me everything in there. She called me to her office, and she was like, you know, get dressed, whatever. And like, meet me in the office. And I was like, okay, cool. So I didn't have like an idea that something was wrong, but I kind of just like, ooh, that was painful. Like, I probably get some type of answers. Like, so when I went to her office, and mind you, I'm 20 years old, you know, at this time. So I'm 25 now. So it's been quite a journey, even since that very moment. And I can remember it visually, very, very vividly. So yeah. So she called me in her office and she was like, man, she kind of basically explained the procedure to me. She showed me like how it goes in the uterus, how it should spill out, all the things. And she was like, well, yours didn't do that. And that means your fallopian tubes are blocked. And that means the only way you can get pregnant is through IVF. And I just started crying because not only that, I'm like, wow, I'm 20 years old. You telling me the only way I can get pregnant is through IVF. And at that time, I didn't really know what IVF was, but I have been doing my own research and YouTube videos and all that, so I kind of knew what it was in the process, in the cost, and all those things that go into it, but I didn't really know, you know what I'm saying? So she told me, she was like, yeah, for our clinic to even get started, it's $12,000. That's not including the medicine. And $12,000, it's not including the medicine, and the whole $12,000 needs to be paid before we even start the process. So I'm sitting here like, wow, that's impossible. I'm 20 years old, you know? So I'm just like, okay, thank you. There's not much to say. She was like, the only other thing I can say to get the money for it is to donate your eggs. So I'm like, wow, I gotta donate my eggs to other couples that's trying to have a baby in order for me to have a baby. Insane. I don't mind the egg donation, don't get me wrong. But in order for me to have one, I have to do that. Like, what if somebody had a baby before me of my own, you know what I'm saying? My own eggs, like, insane. So, yeah. I just remember it was COVID time, so my kid's dad couldn't come into the office with me. But I just remember like walking down to the car and just falling in his arms and bawling. I mean, it was like my whole world was shattered. And like at the time, granted, I'm in college for my undergrad, and I honestly didn't want no kids, but it was more so of like me feeling like I failed or disappointed him, you know? Because when he came into my life, like I said, he was everything to me. And the way he treated me, the way he loved me. And these are the things he's asking of me, and I can't give it to him, you know? But when you are a believer, you know that everything is always deeper than what it seems. It's not just black and white, you know? So obviously God has revealed so many things to me since experiencing IVF, and I just can't wait to slowly but for surely like unravel those things here. But yeah, so I go to the car, I just fall in his arms, and I'm just like, she said the only way we can have kids is through IVF. And he was like, oh, well, you know, I understand, like, and I'm crying saying this too, so I'm bawling like my eyes out. So he's kind of trying to like console me, but also like he's just trying to digest this information he just found out himself. I mean, it was a lot. It was like, and we're both young, so he was not much further from me in age, so we're both extremely young going through this. And he was just like, so what are we gonna do? Do you want this or what? And I was like, yes, I want this. I want a baby, and and he was just like, well, we're gonna do it. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know who, I don't know with who Manny. But he said we're gonna do it, so we gonna do it. So after that, I know me. Like, I just know. I mean, I remember the first thing I did was text one of my friends and tell her about it. Because a lot of my friends was like, not waiting around to see if I got pregnant, but they all knew I was trying. So they kind of just like, you know. And then I just told her like the news I found out, and she was just like, you know, God is gonna bless you. Like, don't worry about it. And you know, and at that moment, at that very moment when you find out that news, it feels so lonely. It just feels so like, not even a why me, but dang me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the cards, this is the deck I've been handed, and how am I going to play these cards? Am I going to walk away from the table? Am I going to find a way to make these cards work for me at this table? You know what I'm trying to say? Am I going to try to ask for a whole new deck? God, please just deal me a whole new deck, Jesus. Like, I don't even want this, you know? But I sat at that table and I tried to make those cards work for me. That's what I did. And also, like I said, when you're a believer, like, you know that you don't have to make the cards work for yourself. God will make those cards work for yourself, and he will also change the deck in the middle of the game. Hold on, that's a whole nother story. But I'm preaching here. But yeah, so afterwards, I know that night when we got back home, I got online, I just was searching places, anywhere, everywhere. I just need a place to go to do this process. 12,000 is a lot. I have to put the whole 12 before we even get started, not including medicine. I just like, you know what, I don't think we can go through them, you know, like, it's a lot. So I got online, I found CNY. And CNY fertility, CNY fertility is the cheapest fertility clinic in the whole United States. And they mean that when they say that. And I love those people to death. Like, the founder, I think it's Dr. Kills, if I'm not mistaken. The founder, all the nurses, all the doctors. I mean, just phenomenal work that they do for people in that position. I mean, phenomenal. It's a blessing. So, found them, and I got the process started immediately. Like, as soon as I found them, I started making phone calls. I started, you know, doing my research and just everything that goes within that. And that was the beginning of this journey. And I would like to do a part 2 to this, and I would like to add, you know, some pictures and things of that nature, just to kind of show you a little bit more throughout the journey, of how it was for us. Yeah. And I also just kind of want to show you how good God is. I don't want to share too much right now because of just how the story unfolds. It's so many layers to it that I want to take my time and really digest it for you guys, and really be able to, like, share it with you guys in a way that y'all can see, y'all can almost feel what I felt in those moments, you know, when God was just blessing me when I thought it was all over for me. But I've always kept the faith in him too, though. So I've never felt like it was all over for me. But that feeling in where you sitting in currently in that moment, it feels like, dang, that's just, my whole world just blew up, you know? So yes, there's definitely more to come. I just wanted to go ahead and get this out here just to start the process, because I feel like if I don't make the video now, I'm never gonna make it. So I don't want to keep prolonging this. I feel like I should have been did it, but you know, it's perfect timing for everything. So I'm just gonna stay focused and kind of just do what I feel like I've been called to do, which is share my testimony with you guys in God's grace. So guess I'm gonna end this here, but I definitely will be back with a part 2 and more videos to come. There's so many, like I said, different journeys I've been through, and IVF is literally just one of them. And it's just one part that I share with you guys. This is the tip of the iceberg. So I'm excited to, like, just reveal everything and how good God is. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye.